Welcome to episode 42 of Motivating Mondays, a weekly podcast and YouTube series dedicated to help Canadian job developers and other employer engagement professionals develop the tools, resources, expertise, and network to excel in achieving sustainable employment outcomes for their clients or students. My name is Christian St. Cyr, National Director of the Canadian Job Development Network, and today we're going to take a closer look at the levels of optimism, more specifically pessimism, both employers and job seekers are bringing to the labor market. Feedback is clear that employers, when they're hiring, are looking to find people who are experienced and ready to go on day one. This can be an enormous challenge for those with barriers to employment. In this session, we want to consider how we can better prepare people to manage this transition. How confident are you in the job market going into 2026? I have new data to share, and I think this is a two-sided equation. We need to discuss the outlook for employment, but also I believe our perceptions, and certainly our clients' or students' perceptions, are just as important in supporting people to find employment. Cynicism is very common. Likely you're being regularly told by clients or students, no one is hiring. No one wants to hire me. They only want to hire someone with experience. I was talking with a young person the other day who claimed in frustration, I have applied for 100 jobs. Now, this is a family friend, so I said, really? 100 jobs? But you really went to you really went into only 5 or 6, right? You applied for all the rest online? To this they replied, I've worked in retail. We're irritated by people who apply in person. My manager throws their resumes in the garbage. To this I said, yeah, some employers do that, and they're rude, and it's intimidating and frustrating. But if you are not the most qualified, experienced person, you're not going to make many inroads by applying for posted jobs. And while some employers will respond this way, there is a significant portion of hospitality and retail and customer service employers who prefer people to apply in person. This way they can size up the job candidate, get a sense of their communication skills, their outgoingness, their confidence. Now, it is easy with a job seeker to have this back and forth, and I only wish those conversations were this short because I find that most frustrated job seekers have at least a dozen reasons why employers won't hire them. Why not just write down all of those reasons and call it your resume? In career development, we need to address this. Not only is it drenched in that cynicism I was talking about and demonstrates a fundamental lack of confidence in employers, in the job market, and most importantly, a lack of confidence in themselves. Now, I want to share the data and what it's telling us about the job market. But I'm reminded that as I prepare this, I'm preparing it for Motivating Mondays. Now, as a professional, I need to share where the job market is, which is anything but motivating right now. But stick with me because I hope after we go through some of this data, I'm confident we're going to wrap up on a much more positive note. Now, recently, Harris Poll conducted a survey in partnership with Express Employment Professionals, and it demonstrates that both employers and job seekers have mixed feelings about the job market. Close to 3/4 of job seekers, about 72%, expect it will be difficult to find a job in the next 6 months, which is pretty much in line with where we were 6 months ago, 74%. But it is significantly higher than we were a year ago, where it was only 62% of people who thought it was going to be difficult to find a job. Half of job seekers, 48%, also believe there are fewer job opportunities in their field compared to a year ago, when 46% thought that it would be harder to find a job in their field. At the same time, 39% anticipate overall wages are going to increase in 2026 compared to 2025. That's up slightly from last year, where it was only 37%. Finding full-time work remains the primary objective for job seekers, with 78% willing to accept full-time positions. 38% are willing to accept part-time work. Almost 1/3, 28% were willing to accept contract or freelance positions. 22% temporary or seasonal positions, and 19%, or 1 in 5, were willing to accept entry-level positions. The intensity of job searches is also shifting. Currently, 29% of job seekers report actively looking for a new job, which is down from 39% last year, while 71% browse but are not fully committed to their job search. This trend suggests a market where job seekers are very cautious. While nearly half of employed job seekers, 47%, have worked more than the usual in the last year, this represents a decline from last year where it was 58%. Moreover, fewer employed job seekers say that they are working longer hours and more shifts than usual in the past year, 33% down from 43% last year. Fewer are also saying that they are working more overtime than usual, 24% down from 31%. And what this could really speak to is that employers are looking to cut the costs of overtime. In addition, a smaller portion of employed job seekers have taken on another job to their current one, 20% compared to 30% last year. That's a 50% drop. We should also note there are significant generational differences, with Gen Z much more likely than Gen X or boomers, or baby boomers, to say that they have worked longer hours in the past year, 66% compared to 45% or 27% respectively. As well, more worked overtime in the last year, 39% for Gen Z compared to 17% for Gen X and 12% for baby boomers. So why are employed job seekers looking to make a move? Well, the most common response that people said, if they have a job and they're looking for another job, 41% cite the need to negotiate better compensation. That cost of living is getting to us. 38% are seeking better work-life balance. 36% want to keep an eye on the job market. They're just looking for work to see what's out there. Top concerns about staying put with the job that they have. 40% are worried about not getting the salary increase they deserve. 27% fear a slowdown in work opportunities. And 24% are concerned about losing their job if the economy declines. Despite these pressures, satisfaction gaps remain the driving force behind career decisions. While 85% say salary is important, only 56% of employed job seekers say they are satisfied with their current salary, an almost 30-point gap. Benefits have a 10% gap, with 74% saying it's important, but only 64% say that they are satisfied with their current benefits. A 5-point gap between the importance of work-life balance, 79%, and the satisfaction with their current situation, 74%. These gaps underscore persistent frustrations that could shape the job market in the months ahead. And while this focus on research is very much focused on people who already have a job and are looking for a new one, obviously the challenges experienced by those who are not working right now are exponentially more difficult. Often in these segments, I compare being a job developer to being a salesperson. Sure, selling a brand new Porsche during an economic boom is easy. I'm guessing, I don't know. But how hard is it to sell a luxury car during an economic downturn? What I'm hearing from employer engagement professionals is that we are in a wait-and-see mode where employers are reluctant to fire and slow to hire. I can assure you that this, short of a complete economic collapse, this trend isn't going anywhere anytime soon. World affairs, and you know what I'm talking about, is leaving everyone in a wait-and-see mode, and that goes from Prime Minister Mark Carney straight down to the owner of your local bakery who's holding off hiring. So what can we do about all this? Well, first of all, we need to instill in our clients that all of the complaints in the world are not going to change the job market as it exists today and tomorrow and next month and a half a year from now. Stephen Covey, who authored The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, argued that between stimulus, what's sort of causing us to have strong feelings, such as a poor economy or a reluctant employer, and response, how we react to it, that space exists where humans hold the power to choose their actions based on principles rather than reactions. Now, Covey attributed this work to Dr. Viktor Frankl with the power to pause, that was Frankl's term, central to being proactive, enabling growth, freedom, and character building. How often have you heard people, let's put this past job search, how often have you heard from people in the past couple of years, I feel helpless? Stephen Covey argued, we're never helpless. We may not be able to affect the actions of world leaders. In fact, we may not even be able to alter the actions or choices or perspectives of the people who are closest to us in our lives. But we do have control over how we react to these things. When we focus on other people's actions and say we can't do anything about it, we're surrendering the power of how we respond, what we control. If the salesperson feels discouraged and ineffective, they can focus on the things that will most likely produce a sale. They focus on how approaching so many customers each day, or refining their sales pitch, or doing the mental work necessary to put themselves in the best possible place when they get an opportunity to approach a customer. How does the job seeker have control? What do they have control over? Well, just some of the things that they have control over is how many employers they approach in a day, how frequently they engage employers on social media, the quality and specificity of their resume, whether they whether they use a cover letter, how quickly they apply, whether they follow up or not after they've applied, whether they apply online or in person if that's an option, whether they attend a job fair or a networking event, how they prepare for an interview, or whether they send a personalized thank you note after an informational interview or an elevator pitch. Just like us, job seekers can't control what the employer is going to do, but they have tremendous control over what they do. I've often said, your efforts will get you the interview, but it's confidence that gets you the job. Clients need to do the work to help create these opportunities, but we have a part to play as well. We're not only advocates for our clients to employers, we need to be advocates of our clients to themselves. We need to help build them up, assure them about what is working and what can be improved, and help them understand the unique contribution they can make, that an employer would be lucky to hire them. As we all know, job search is lonely and isolating. It's hard for people to feel confident, and we have a unique role that allows us to speak into this in a way their spouse can't, their partner, their kids, their parents, their friends, and their family are unable to do. I've had the pleasure in my career of meeting thousands of people who've worked with career professionals over the years. Rarely do they talk about the suggested resume or the interview coaching or the job placement or any kind of career development support. Most often, they are talking about someone who encouraged them and supported them when they most needed it. Don't ever forget that we have the privilege of doing some amazing work in our profession, work that helps people change their own lives. That's tremendous power in a down economy. Just want to remind you, registration is open for Labor Market 101, the training modules I'm going to be doing in March. The career development sector has changed so much in the last year. Lots of new hires, new people who are new to the sector who've never worked in career development. And this is a great opportunity for people to see how labor market information fits with their role, how they can best use LMI to support their clients or students. Now, we've divided the training up into 5 separate modules. People would only ever take one module, the module that makes most sense to them. But it's Resource Room Advisors on Monday, March 2nd, Employment Case Managers, Tuesday, March 3rd, Facilitators, Wednesday, March 5th, Job Developers, Thursday, March 5th, Facilitators, Wednesday, March 4th, Job Developers, Thursday, March 5th, and Managers and Supervisors on Friday, March 6th. Now, everyone who registers before February 12th is going to get a 20% discount on their registration. If you want more information for British Columbia, go to labormarketonline.com/LMI101. And for Ontario, go to OntarioLaborMarketOnline.org/LMI101. Thank you so much for joining us. Please click the like or subscribe button in your platform. Search for Motivating Mondays wherever you download podcasts. We'd also love it if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and or rate or review this podcast. We do these sessions live and for free every Monday morning on Microsoft Teams. We have job developers joining us from across Canada, and it would be so great if you could join us. Just go to jobdevelopment.org to learn more information. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email. My email address is cstcyr@labormarketsolutions.ca. Thank you so much for your time, and have an amazing week.